Shalom, my name is Yehoshua Yaakov. I'm a didactic scientist. This is being made from Jerusalem. It's a comment upon the part 5, Hitchens' moral atheism gets its reality checked. Part 5, okay, as best I can. Going right along. We're going to go a little bit more deliberately. 5, the complaints were that it was too fast. So we'll begin with a clear and unambiguous introduction. Okay, the question is what's going on in the world today? And I've been talking about the collapsed local reality, and I'm getting lots and lots of emails. Yehoshua, what is this? And can you be specific? Okay, beginning in 1991, the collapse of the local reality was observed, and it was later the same year, actually not the same year, it was later in 1992, confirmed. The resulting global chaos, emphasis added chaos, is only now yielding to a daunting complexity that is only now suggesting highly significant quantum and local level convergences that man and mankind has an immediate need to not merely understand, but as well to comprehend existentially. Okay, I want to repeat what I just read. The collapse of the local reality clearly confirms a primary analog, and that analog is chaos to complexity to convergence to comprehension. And we're a long way from comprehension, folks. Let's move on. So what is it that is now needed for man and mankind to comprehend what is observed, particularly the collapse of the local reality? Well, first we have to end the denial of the collapse of the local reality that has ended man and mankind's exile. How do we do that? Why is it important? This is critical for all of us to deconstruct, quote unquote, its ground zero and deprogramming. This is what is next. We got to deconstruct and deprogram man's mind of exile, of what was his separation from God as an authentic self. Why do I say exile and separation? Because separation applies to the secular and exile applies to the traditional and the religious, okay? And the model of Humanomics applies to both. This is essential in order to ascend and inhabit the quantum reality that is Humanomics' new post-collapse of the local reality convergence, east-west convergence model, in the new central organizing principle of that model, which is receiving to give. Receiving what? Receiving the authentic you to give the authentic you to yourself, to your spouse, to your children, to your family, to your community, to your nation, and to the world, to all mankind. Okay, that's what is receiving to give. Okay, what is it for the secular? Okay, it's the new cognitive behavioral science first principle. Same meanings, folks, but that's what it is for the secular. While for the religious, regardless of culture, it's the redemption of man and mankind. Okay, its essential importance to all is that Humanomics and its two paradigms are the central prerequisites to now answer the following 3 primary existential questions that address and deliver the now much needed solutions for all man and mankind's immediate ascent to the quantum reality, in, with, through, and to receive the answers to the following 3 questions. And they are: what creates life and sustainable human development life systems is the first question. And the second is what creates wealth. And the third is who am I and why am I here? Okay. Anyone who can answer these, you're more than welcome. But after 4 decades of basic research, it's Humanomics in general, and its central organizing principle, receive it to give. That is the answer to all 3 in general, and each one has particular answers on 4 levels: the psychoanalytic, the cognitive behavioral, and the psychosocial level, and we'll get to that in a minute. In brief, the way forward from today's place and time in humanity's brief history is best described as the place where paradox has become dilemma, as is the now necessary dichotomy for man's achieving man and mankind's ascent and sustainable human development. This sustainable human development process now derives from Humanomics in general and its central organizing principle, receive it to give. In particular, as a function of man's achieving his identity resolution that defines who he really is, We all need to know that. And how is this achieved? For the traditional, for awakening, atonement, restoration, and healing. Now, I could say what it is for the secular, but the fact that I'm religious, it would be assailed, attacked, so I will just omit that. And we'll leave that for the secular to do for themselves. White space. Yesterday we were all behavioral mammals. Today we are the nascent cognitive being man who is called to ascend. From being a behavioral mammal to fulfill his destiny is the cognitive being man. And so how do we achieve this, question mark? We go forward today within the person who we are, the spouse we have, our family, our community, and our nation of today, all imperfect as we are, and knowing we are all certain to be fundamentally different tomorrow. And this is the meaning of the Exodus from Egypt. That is the Passover, now moving Klal Yisrael from the symbolic to the actual exodus of finality, white space. And herein, we all begin with the deconstruction of exile's personal ground zero again only after we all individually and as families, communities, and as a nation together in the denial of the end of man and mankind's separation and exile. I repeat, when I say separation and exile, I'm talking to both secular and religious. From one's authentic self and God. This is the purpose of Humanomics in general, and its new central organizing principle received to give, as we now begin to progress in the era that is for the secular, the postmodern era. Whether as secular humanists or traditional spiritualists, the task is the same for all of us, namely the ascent of man, since this is the next phase of man's historical development, as is the relational model below. And the relational model of which I'm talking about is this. We can only show you a little picture of it. There it is. Okay. Another time, another video for that. How is this process of man's transformation understood in order that we can eventually comprehend it, to ensure that we together achieve this? The answer is we begin with the crescent event, a metaphor parenthetically, of man's exile. And this refers to what's the end of man's exile. As understanding the particular events begins with learning to comprehend other significant particular events as follows, and their relational meanings. To begin, we go to and focus on 9/11. Now, I've come to the point of all that I can do without rushing unnecessarily. I've summarized the context in which the collapse of the local reality has placed us in a very interesting place in history. When the local reality collapses, you're supposed to be in the quantum reality, but when man and mankind denies the end of exile or the collapse of the local reality, we're suspended between the local reality and the quantum reality, so we have to end the denial to make the ascent. And the particular framework in which we end that denial and understand what is actually happening in respect of secular humanists and spiritual humanists has 4 levels, which are the psychosocial, the behavioral, the cognitive, and the psycholinguistic levels. And that is the subject of the next video, which is part 7. And so therefore I want to summarize. I have been, the best thing I can say that's clear is that I've lost patience with this process. I'm a scientist and I do science. I don't debate. I'm not interested in being a movie star, etc., 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 or wasting my life answering emails and explaining. I'm not running classes. But we have a situation that compels a response, and that is the only reason that I made these videos, to educate, train, and to help man and mankind to get on with the ascent. Okay, so having said that, I'm Yehoshua Yaakov from Jerusalem. I'm the author of Humanomics Trilogy, and it's about 2,500 pages and about 200 graphics. Okay, will be published on the web sometime in the next year. Okay, having said that, I thank you for listening. Again, I'm Yehoshua Yaakov, a didactic scientist from Jerusalem. Thank you for listening.